In this video I want to introduce you to a new carriage which I'm just finished and which I'm in the process of testing, and rather Bob, my beta tester, is in the process of testing, and it's related to a rather unusual type of carriage. It's a first class sleeper dating from about 1885-87, and here it is in Surveyor, and Great Western Railway of course, and there's a number of rather odd features about it which I think make it quite an addition to any range of passenger stock. First of all, what's very noticeable is the side. The side has a whole series of bays, as you can see there, and these are actually the sleeper compartments. There are 7 of them, and they would take 2 people in each one, and so that gives you a maximum passenger load of 14. Now unfortunately Trainz doesn't run to horizontal passengers, so what I've done is I've made this carriage without any passenger attachment points whatsoever and without animated doors, so it will not load up at a station, it will not accept passengers. It's simply as a vehicle to run in a train, and the reason I've done this is because the complexities were just too great of trying to incorporate some sort of passenger loading. In fact, I worked out, because there's a lavatory at each end, that the only way I could load up passengers would be to have it all have 7 of them in each of the 2 lavatories, which seems a bit strange, to say the least. Now you'll notice also that it's got a number of other. This is very much an experimental carriage, and it has one particular facet, which is it's got a corridor connection, and the corridor connection is set to one side because here's the corridor. You can see through these windows here that you can see the doors into the sleeping compartments, and this is an all first carriage, by the way, I should stress. And on this side what I've done is I've not used the normal glass. I've simply created a texture which shows a decorative window blind, and if you look closely you can just about see the intertwined letters for GWR on the blind, and they're permanently down. Very odd that you could actually step straight from the door into the from the platform straight into the sleeping compartment. It's not something we'd want today. Anyway, there we are. Now it's a side corridor, and it's a side corridor connection at the end. So what I've done there is I've added as a load, I've created an extended corridor connection, because at the moment those corridor connections are not extended. If we just, let me just get rid of this a minute. If we just have a look at sort of sideways on, you can see they're retracted, but obviously we'd like them extended. So if I go into the loads, and I've set 2 load points, attachment points, one at each end, and it will only load 1 of each. And now you'll see, if we look at the side, you'll see they're extended. All you're doing is you're loading a mesh on top of what's already there, and adding an extended corridor. So if we put another sleeping J4 first class sleeper next to it, so there it is, and we connect them up, you see there's a gap. So obviously for this one as well, what you need to do is to add the corridor connections. And I've left them unextended like this as the normal setting, just in case you just want the vehicle parked. But now you can see you've got a complete corridor connection, and those are extended at each end. So you could remove those, you could set those back to the shallow ones if you so wished. The reason why I've started off with a sleeper is because of this rather strange bayed side. See how this bays out from the side of the normal profile of a carriage. In fact, when you pull back a bit, it's almost like there are 7 of those guards ducats or tumble homes there, and there's 4 on this side. This is the corridor side, and I don't think there are many more vehicles built by the GWR like this. I think it's not quite unique. There are a couple more, and in fact there is a first class seating ordinary passenger carriage, which I'm going to make, which has the same arrangement along the sides. In fact, I may use this same side mesh because it looks almost identical on the first class ordinary passenger sleeper seating carriage, and it also has the side connection for the corridor. So there will be a couple of other carriages more suitable for an ordinary train to run with this sleeper car, and you just sort of tack this on if you want to. There's I think I'm right, I'm trying to remember now which ones I've been looking at, but there's also a luncheon car, and I think the first class seating carriage also has a smoker's saloon, which the GWR was very keen on. So there we are. That's a little J4 first class sleeper. Let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick drive in, not a quick drive, just to look at it without all of the surveyor stuff on. So that's what they look like in the flesh, as it were, with the corridor connections added. Should be releasing those, I would say, in about 3 or 4 weeks, once all the testing has been done as far as I can. There's always glitches turn up. They're using the 6'4" bogie, the early Churchwood bogie, which is on most of this early clerestory stock. So an unusual addition, I think, to the fleet, and one which you might like to consider adding. Of course, without the extended corridor, they could be rostered in an ordinary train and just with the doors locked at each end, so that they can just be used as sleeper cars. I think they were on the Paddington to Birkenhead trains, but there's a number of these carriages which were developed for different boat trains, for the Birkenhead train and for the Milford Haven train, and indeed for the ocean mails, the early ocean mails down to Plymouth. So there we are. So there's J4. So I hope that's been of interest, and that you've seen another of my additions to the range of early Great Western Railway coaches. I'm trying to keep them representational. They're not all, it's not full of every little detail which I'd like to include, because otherwise the poly count would go through the roof. So I'm trying to capture the spirit of these rather than the absolute detail of everything. As it is, they're still quite substantial carriages. They're quite substantial models. And I'm trying not to make them too big, so that they're not such a big hit on everybody's graphics card. So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you download my sleeper carriage when it becomes available. It can be obtained, it will be available on my website, which is www.ballingergarrett.net/ing for trains, and also the link is at the end of this video. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Please leave a comment if you wish, especially if you're interested in this rather bizarre shape of carriage. It meant actually that you had an overall width of 9 foot, which is a foot wider than the other clerestory stock, and actually you had 8'6" internal width. So I suppose it allowed for people to lie in bed and also to have a corridor beyond their head, the other side of the partition wall. And please subscribe to my channel if you wish. There is no obligation. I don't know who you are. You don't get any contact from me. I think maybe YouTube email you if there's a new video posted, but other than that, I've certainly got no way of knowing. So I'm not going to harass you or anything like that. So there we are. Great Western Railway standard gauge J4 early first class sleeping carriage, sleeping a maximum of 14 passengers.